Boom. There we go.
Number 8 is too generous.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in and live with Behind the Curtain. I'm your host, Evan Carpenter. With me tonight, we have our special correspondent, Alex Freeman.
It's good to be here, Evan, on this glorious Easter Sunday.
That's right. Happy holidays, folks. All the way to my right, we've got friend of the show, David Pena.
Hello?
That's right. And the well-dressed man directly to my right, Conor Spellane, joining the show for the first time. Welcome.
Thank you. I thought it was 420.
It is.
And you said it was Easter.
It is. It's Easter Sunday. It's 420. And as David pointed out earlier, it's also his favorite person's birthday,
No, that's
Adolf Hitler.
That's my arch nemesis.
So David will be celebrating that this evening.
Man, I feel like those are conflicting things to have on the same day.
He is arisen.
Oh, no.
Who? Well, your guess.
He who must not be named.
All right, folks. Well, tonight is the 420 special. So we've got a special program for y'all tonight. We are focusing on that lovely plant, cannabis. We're going to be looking at the history of its use as a medicine and as a little recreational aid. We're going to be looking at some true crime stories involving the plant. And of course, we're going to be looking at some listicles. Got to look at some listicles tonight. We'll get to those topics when we get to them. But before we do any of that, I think it's probably a good idea to catch up on the news from the last month or so. We're going to turn it over to our special correspondent, Alex. He's going to catch us up on a few pretty good stories.
Yeah. So there's a few things I've saved for this month, just seeing headlines pop up. But before we get into that, what news do you have, Connor? I'm sure between all of your projects, I'm sure you've got some things coming up soon.
News in earnest. Yeah. So I think on the 2nd, Wynton and maybe Carmela are playing at the Underdog, I think, for old Joshua Saltzman Loney's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Is that his middle name?
Yeah.
No fucking way.
With a Z,
Saltzman?
too.
Oh.
Saltzman.
That's cool middle name.
Oh, that is such useful information. Thank you.
Sorry, Josh.
We'll talk more about that off camera. But is that May 2nd?
That is May 2nd, yes. At the Underdog for First Friday. It's Josh's birthday. One of the bands I'm in is playing, or multiple. You know,
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Other than that, man, I'm sure I got some stuff coming up. Could not tell you in this moment what it
Hell
is.
yeah.
Seeing as I've had a particularly long week, and it's 420, I think, still. So
Yeah. Well, check out Karma Vulture. Check out Wynton Existing.
Yeah.
Check out the Bing Ford Band. Check out the Heather Thomas Band.
Hook Like Helen.
Hooked Like Helen.
Wynton Existing. We just released a live record today.
Oh, hell yeah.
Today on 420. The first part of the music I've gotten to be on with this particular band. And we got a record coming out, like a real record, here in the next however long. I don't know yet, but the live record is out today, which is Sunday.
I donated towards that, and that's like what I'm using to work out. And I recommend you guys do the same. Work out to that. It's so good.
Hell yeah. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Part of somebody's life already. That's great.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, Connor.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
Thank you very much. We're gonna get vinyl CDs, the whole
deal.
The whole 10.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
I think I saved over my huge list of headlines.
Do you want me to?
Oh, no, I found it. Oh, that scared me. Okay. There's so much work in here that I thought just got deleted. Okay. First thing I want to talk about. Do you guys know about the Dank DeMoss lift thing?
No,
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Okay.
I didn't know that was English.
All right. So there is this obese rapper that sued Lyft.
No,
You know, does this ring any bells to you
Okay,
guys?
yeah,
I'm having a hard time believing the obese rapper part.
Crap. I know you're talking the really, really big rap.
Sorry. Anyway, you were saying no.
Yeah,
It does
yeah,
not. It does not ring. a
So
bell.
basically, this lady calls an Uber or a Lyft, and
It's a small one too.
yeah, and the driver is like, "You can't get in my car. Like, the suspension cannot handle
Oh my
you
God.
being in my vehicle." She complains. Lyft takes her side, and she sues the driver
Oh my God.
because she's a massive piece of shit.
Yeah.
Well, this is so in a turn of events. She went on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne's podcast.
Yeah.
And part of her case is she has to be able to prove that she can sit in a normal chair. Right? Because like that's the argument here. Is she's saying she can, the Lyft driver's saying you can't, right? So she has to be able to prove that in court. Well, she
What a
goes
world we live
on
in.
Breakfast Club, can't fit in the chair, and instead of bringing her a bigger chair, they bring the whole couch.
Oh, no.
So her going on Breakfast Club may have just cost her that lawsuit, which is a huge dub because fuck her.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, Exhibit A right there.
Oh my God. Well, actually, yeah, you'll find Exhibit A where you could, in fact, not sit in one or two chairs. We had to get a couch for you,
An entire
which took two people to carry.
So the UK just passed a thing that said that gender is binary and basically says that they don't recognize transgenderism. And that, for some reason, that's not the story. The story is J.K. Rowling saying we did it, basically.
Oh,
That's what
gosh.
everyone's talking about instead of like that just happened. Like if that happened here, it would almost make, with the current political climate, it would almost make more sense to me than it happening in the UK. That's
Where,
kind of
like,
wild, right?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
The fact that they did that is like really interesting to me.
No, it's because of her. It's because of JK.
Because of just her alone. You think she really did it?
How many millions do you think she pumps into that kind of stuff? Into those
I
type of
mean,
groups?
that's not a bad point. Yeah, like
She's a
maybe she
billionaire.
is single-handedly responsible for getting this passed.
No, because being a TERF is actually like a really big thing in the UK. Like there's actually a lot of like movements that she actually belongs to. And once again, I wouldn't be surprised if she funds a lot of them too.
So we haven't talked about this. This happened since our last episode. The JFK files were declassified.
Oh, yes.
TLDR.
Yeah, I'm not reading that shit.
Oh,
Basically,
the government is finally telling me what happened. Oh, okay.
and they're still not. They're like, it's kind of a nothing burger. Basically, they did admit to like a second shooter that they are aware that they're like, yeah, no shit, it wasn't a magic bullet. You like, of course not.
Oh man,
We just
whoa.
lied to you guys, right? So like, duh, of course we did. So they're like, yeah, no, there's a second shooter, but there's not a whole, as far as I know, there's not a whole lot more information out of that. Do you know anything else about that?
Only as much as you just said, man.
Yeah. A trucking employee was arrested after killing the CEO of the company.
Well, just
So-
making sure. Do you guys have any more thoughts on JFK before we move forward on that?
I mean, there's a bunch of really interesting, someone who I will not name personally was kind of saying that, like, our government would love nothing more than to make up some wild shit than tell you, like, the Russians may have killed our president or anything of the sort. You know what I mean? Like, it's not in their best interest to be like, well, it could be a bunch of stuff. We don't really know. We don't really know what happened. It was probably a magic bullet, though.
Yeah.
Or as Ox saying, like, no, fuck you, we're not gonna talk anything.
Yeah.
Because at least then we know it was a magic bullet. We know something.
Yeah.
It's better than to say you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like folks in the 60s are like, wow, they must have a magic bullet. I can't do any research. And I don't know how guns work, so it sounds good to me.
That sounds like a Russian bullet to me.
Do y'all want to talk about the Syria signal leak thing? I don't really care.
I don't know
That
anything about
happened. There was a group chat got leaked where they're talking about war plans. It was a signal chat with like who's our vice president? JD Vance,
Yeah,
JD
yeah.
Vance, and some other people in there talking about
Tulsi was in it too.
Tulsi Gabbard.
And the problem is he accidentally added like a news reporter that was like liberal.
To this private signal chat where they're discussing war plans. And it doesn't sound like any like actual critical information was leaked. Like it's not really a national security threat as far as I can tell,
No.
but it is also really stupid.
No, here's the fucked up thing. Technically it could be, we don't know, because the person who leaked it censored stuff. Because they still wanted to protect the United States.
So it wouldn't have been, the person that leaked it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
They censored it.
Okay.
Which like they would have made a way bigger deal. Like they could have made more of an
then
impact.
they would be in trouble
Yeah.
for leaking.
Yeah.
State secrets.
Yeah.
Which, like, man, government hates that for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they really don't look over there. Don't look at that. There were some CIA documents declassed that we found the Ark of the Covenant in the 70s. And apparently there is a replica of it at Mar-a-Lago.
I mean, okay, hold on, but put yourself in those shoes for a moment. Wouldn't you have? I mean, I would.
It's not a replica.
It's
It's
the
the
It's
Ark
the
of,
real one.
don't touch it.
Big Donnie Three-Piece is just like, fuck it, I want one of those. Put it in my house somewhere. Maybe at some point I'll stumble upon it.
It's so funny because he lives in a golden house with golden furniture, and he puts the Ark of the Covenant in there too. What a luxurious place to live.
Bootsy Collins and Buckethead announced a collab. I think
Which,
that's-
like, amazing players. That,
Yeah.
this might piss some people off. That falls so squarely under the boy, don't care about that.
Hey, fair enough. Looking
Yeah.
into this, I actually found out that Bootsy Collins produced Buckethead's first record.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they've like have a long relationship working together.
Those dudes are
and
amazing.
that does make sense. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
great players, like you said.
Also, like, I don't know, I feel like I get 5 minutes into that and be like, oh, the next
Yeah.
song sounds like this too.
Yeah, I know. I don't disagree. That's true. David Bowie's daughter, Alexandria Jones, released her debut album a few days ago. I haven't heard it.
I've not heard either. Although,
Has anyone here heard it? Let's keep it moving.
George Foreman died.
Oh.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
I mean, man, those grills though, you know.
Okay, so Dropkick Murphys said some stuff about some guy wearing a MAGA hat in the crowd on St. Patty's Day, and for something they said at a festival that got recorded, they were given a like temporary ban on X, which is like,
That's kind of.
are they being annoying? Like talking about like just being, what's the term? I can't remember.
I mean, I don't like that. I'm sure I don't like what they said either, but I really don't like that they got banned for it. Like, hey, isn't that the whole point?
Yeah.
That
So
this is like that this is not like that anymore.
So one of the members from stage said, if you're out there buying these fucking hats that these swindlers are selling, then you're part of the problem because you're being duped by the greatest swindler in the history of the world and a bunch of grifters and billionaires who don't give a shit about you or your family. I don't have to agree with what he's saying in order to understand that that's freedom of
Wait,
speech, and
that's
you
freedom of speech.
absolutely should not
Absolutely
get
freedom of
banned.
See, you made it sound like he said, "Oh, we have to like hurt them or something," but no, it's
No.
just
Did I say that?
no. You made it.
No.
No, I'm saying you made it sound like it was gonna be something more serious.
Oh, my bad.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that
no,
doesn't. No, I see what you're saying. It doesn't sound like a bannable thing.
No.
when you
No,
say
this
it.
is anti-freedom of
Yeah.
speech, and like I absolutely bipartisan disagree with banning Dropkick Murphys for saying some shit
100%.
like that. That's really
100%.
stupid.
That is absolutely stupid.
Now there is like, now my conspiratorial mind goes, I haven't even thought about Dropkick Murphys in a long time. And this happened on St. Patty's Day. Kind of getting canceled in this way is like kind of the most punk good thing for them they could have done. Because now we're thinking about Dropkick Murphys, right?
Yeah.
So that's where that side of my mind goes to on that.
I mean, absolutely, man. You know, and like all the information that's leaked surrounding USAID, you know, where they're funding all
Oh, yeah.
kinds of literal artists of all kinds in a bunch of different countries and our own.
Hmm.
You know, there's state sponsored like Bill Hicks said, like, oh, we're rock stars for Pepsi because that's what the president wants. We're partying now, man. Like.
Oh, 4chan data breach. Bunch of 4chan. 4chan's dead. 4chan died. There was a security breach and a bunch of people's emails. And everyone got doxxed.
Oh no.
Lots of users on 4chan now have their information public.
It was also a lot of the mods and the guys they call them the janitors, the guys cleaning up the website. A lot of them got their information leaked. A lot of them were also just using their personal Gmails for that shit, which is crazy. To be moderating 4chan with your personal email.
Not even their personal email .edu, like using their school.
Yeah, even worse.
Yeah. So it's bad. It's real bad. Huge hit for freedom of speech. I personally, while 4chan is a cesspool where all of the world's worst things come from, it's also like necessary, kind of.
I mean, if you want to talk about freedom of speech, man, that's
4chan is a basin for freedom of speech. So I think that took a huge hit.
Yeah.
A basin is a good word for it. Yeah.
Is it a horrible place? Yes, but that's what makes it a place for freedom of speech. So now the question is, I saw someone talking about this. I'm like, that's a really good point. This could be the worst thing that's ever happened, depending on where 4chan migrates to. Because now they're going to have to go somewhere else. And that could be hell for the rest of the internet, depending on where they end up going.
Especially if it's in like a fairly public sphere.
Yeah. So
it would be like, imagine if like a research center for like gorillas just like shut down and they let all the gorillas loose in your town.
Yeah, that's not good.
And they were just like, sorry, gorilla facility had to go.
So that's all I had. That's there's a lot of shit that happened.
Do you guys have anything to say about the 4chan data leak?
I mean, I've heard nothing but terrible things about 4chan, but I also am kind of with Alex, where it's like, the Jewish law firm that was defending the KKK's right to march in their town. It's like, dude, that's how you have to let people disseminate bad ideas. So you can either tell them that like, hey, that's a bad idea and they learn, or you have to know that like, oh, this person's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't want to associate with that. Like, how else are you going to know?
Yeah.
I'm saying this in a non-violent way. They're to be made an example of, like you have to see those bad examples of free speech practice throughout history.
Absolutely.
Too, Yeah.
It's one of those things too. And then we can move on from this, but whenever people say like, you shouldn't be allowed to say that, I understand you shouldn't say that. What I don't understand is you shouldn't be allowed to say that. What are you actually saying right now? Are you saying like violence is okay against me if I do say that?
Because that seems like
what are the repercussions? What do you like? Basically, what I'm asking is, what the fuck are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna physically restrain me from doing that? You're gonna fine me, like charge me money? What do you mean I shouldn't be able to do that?
Well, like, the ultimate threat, aside from, because physical violence you can recover from, classically, in most of humanity, being ostracized was a death sentence. So they're threatening ostracization.
Ostracization.
Thank you.
And that makes it harder for you.
Ostracization.
Yeah, they're threatening to turn you into an ostrich.
Yeah.
Which nobody likes. But I mean, like,
You'd be surprised.
that again, like humans are the apex predator because of our ability to band together and work together. And if you're not allowed to work together anymore, like, you're fucked.
That's violence.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna hurt you and your family.
Yeah.
And that's violence.
Here's another example of that. I want to see how you guys feel about it. So recently, people that are trying to like come here with visas, like from like let's say Japan or England or whatever, they actually have to get their socials looked through. And if they're critical of like Trump, then they can't come in.
Wow.
Who's saying that? Where's that information coming from? Because like to me that sounds made up.
Good question.
I would have to pull it up, but
Do it.
I believe that you saw that, and like I'm not even defending.
Yeah, but who's saying it though?
But
That's something actually. Sorry, go ahead.
But that also just I don't know, specifically about this guy, because for whatever reason, the blob feels that he's dangerous to them. Just makes things up about this guy ad nauseum because it generates headlines, which keeps their businesses going. You know,
So that's something I've realized actually about this game we're about to play is what we're trying to figure out is not whether or not the story is true. We're trying to figure out whether this is a real headline or something Evan made up. And that's a big difference because it could be a real headline and we're all just like that. Who the fuck wrote this?
yeah. Precisely. So I mean, I think
Go ahead. Sorry.
not letting people into like I don't think these people are above fucking anything. So I'm not saying that there's
Yeah,
no way that that's
facts.
possible. I'm just saying like, yo, personally, I find that a little bit hard to believe,
No, that's-
considering that Trump himself has told his friends like, if you need to hit on me, go ahead and do it. I'll be fine. You know, he doesn't give a shit about that kind of stuff.
I totally
Sure.
agree. It's good to know where that's coming from.
Speaking of headlines and truth, David, I found a relevant headline of what you were talking about with the social media posts. Did you find something on your side though?
I mean, I did, but I just don't know if it's like trustworthy enough for you guys.
I mean, probably not. That's most things for me.
It's making me turn off my ad blocker.
I would much
That's
rather
not
get
gonna
my
happen.
info from podcasts or fucking YouTube
Okay,
than
well-
from the Associated Press.
Okay,
or
this-
fucking
Whoa.
Wait, this might actually
Let's talk
interest
about
you.
that later.
There was one thing I was wrong about. It's not criticism of Trump. It's here, you can read that, Alex. That
This
will
is- So the first question was who posted it? It's Travel Weekly Asia. Okay.
That's where I get all my news.
Probably has no agenda whatsoever.
So what am I reading? This part under related?
Yeah.
Well, Trump's tariffs wreak havoc on travel.
Okay, well, there you go. We touched on exactly what I was talking about.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has made it clear that anyone who thinks they can come to America and hide behind the First Amendment to advocate for anti-Semitic violence and terrorism, think again. You are not welcome here, said Department spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin.
I saw something similar on the article I pulled up before I had to turn off my ad blocker. It kind of sounds like people are getting banned for anti-Semitic posts.
Yeah, but what does that
Or
mean?
that.
That's the real.
I'm not sure.
So if you're
Jews classically, I mean, that doesn't sound like it has much to do
specifically
with Trump.
anti-Semitism,
Just why not any racism?
but this is specifically anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Which could be like being pro-Palestine could like be an example of what they think that counts as.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
personally think the pro-Palestine folks should go spend some time there and see if they still feel it.
All right, I think we should probably keep it moving here.
Sorry, that's my bad.
Nah, you're
And while I
good.
agree with that,
Last point.
I still feel like they should have the right to speak that.
Sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. It's a valuable thing. Alex, do you have any more stories for us
Nope,
tonight?
that was it. That's all I had.
All right, gotcha. Well, in that case, guys, any last thoughts from you two on the stories we just went through?
Pretty crazy shit.
Yeah,
Crazy
a
shit.
lot has happened in the last like month or so since we did this.
Almost too much, but that's the way the news works right now.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Sorry that took so long. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
There was so much to cover.
Absolutely fine. It's been a pretty eventful month here. I think it's about time though that we kick back and relax. It's Easter and it's 420. You folks at home, if you're listening to this on the day, matter of fact, if you're streaming this right now, thanks for joining us. And hello. If you're listening to this on audio later on, what I want you to do right now, go find the most comfortable chair in your house. Sit down in it, kick those feet up, find the biggest, nastiest joint
Dildo.
that you can.
Just bring both. Bring both.
Sorry,
That's
you were
right.
saying?
Double fist him.
Light bulb.
Yeah. Hey, all we're saying, folks, enjoy the substance of your choice while you're playing the game with us at home. On our 420 special, we're going to go through a cannabis-themed queue of stories here. We're going to start out with some historical accounts of the herb. Then we'll talk about true crime and then some listicles and stuff.
Have you explained the rules of the game yet?
Just about to do
I'm
it. I
so
got
sorry.
you.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So if you're joining us for the first time, the point of this podcast is this is a game. You, our guest tonight, you're going to be evaluating these stories and these headlines to determine if they are true or if they are fake news made up by me, your host. I've gone on the internet. Most of these stories are true things. Some of them are totally fabricated by me. So some of these are going to be pretty short. We'll go through them piece by piece, but we're going to read either a headline or a piece of news. Then you guys are going to try and decide if it's true or false. We'll take a little vote. We're going to tally up our points at the end here. And I'll also announce whether the story is true or false one by one as well. I'm not going to tell you guys how many are true or false. Yeah. I think that about covers it. Did I miss anything out?
No, sounds good to me, Evan.
All right. Well, for you folks at home, you can play along with us. It is the 420 special. So if you get it wrong, take a nice long toke of that totally legal product that I'm sure you're consuming back at home there. Okay. So why don't we get into some headlines, guys? I'm going to turn it this way. And I've got some new tech that I'm testing out for this special here. I'm going to share our screen. Do you mind checking?
Yeah, I was about to do that.
Okay. Perfect.
You're good.
Awesome. I got a little teleprompter that we're going to try and use for this one.
Ooh, that looks nice.
That's right. Can you see it over there? Yep.
Yeah, you're good. I can see it.
Perfect.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep. And let's test out the speed real quick too. How's that? Are you going to feel good reading along with that?
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, you guys, y'all folks at home, you can follow along with us. Seems that David has stepped out, but I think we're going to just keep it moving. This first one's short, and we can catch him up.
Yeah, I can see it right here.
So we're going to talk about the history of cannabis use as a medicine and as a recreational aid throughout history. Going back to the beginning, I'll read this first one for us. Cannabis use originated in Western China. Its use as a medicine was first documented in 2800 BCE in Emperor Shen Nung's Pharmacopoeia. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yes.
I think so.
Pharmacopoeia?
Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia.
Pharmacopoeia?
That's how it's called. What's it called?
Shen Nungs.
Shen Nung's
It doesn't matter.
I
Know
think
what I'm talking about? Hamilton.
I think so.
the name sounds very familiar. I haven't read it or viewed it though.
Like the play.
Close enough.
Go on.
With the rap.
That was a good one.
Our founding fathers. All right.
The play. Yeah, dude, Hamilton.
Okay. Well, that's the entire story. What do you guys think? Do you think that's true or
that's
false?
it?
Yeah. Do you think that cannabis use originated in Western China, first documented as a medicine in 2800 BCE?
It's a long ass time ago.
I mean, think about that. 2800 BCE.
Fuck, I don't know.
I would say it's false.
I'm kind of leaning false too, actually.
What's y'all's thoughts on that?
It's way too far in the past.
I disagree. I think it's in the wrong part of the world.
Okay, where do you think it originated?
In the Middle East is my guess.
My guess is India.
So we got some
But
falses.
those are pretty close to China.
Those are pretty close to China. And Western China too.
I'm gonna say true.
Because my thing is, I don't even know if they had emperors in that year,
I think it's true.
or if China was even a concept in that year.
If China was even a concept.
I mean, yeah,
China's been around for crazy.
5,000,
long.
5,000
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But China, as we like think of it today, like
Well, no, it wasn't anything like it is now. But
yeah, it could have been like separate little warring states.
oh, I see what you're saying. China's much smaller, so geographically, China's not what we're thinking of.
Yeah.
Geographically, it's a lot smaller than what we're thinking.
So at this time
Yeah.
period, it could have been. He might be saying like China, the region that we know as China, but it could have been like because they didn't have like entire like warring.
This even
states.
specifies Western China.
Yes, that's correct. Western China, so close to the coast.
Did you cite any sources for this?
Oh yeah. If I pull up the source list, it's going to give away crucial information. This one came from a little listicle. I think it was the University of Sydney. I will say no more.
You
I will say no
Is he
more.
lying?
I think it's true. But if it's not, I'm gonna be fucking mad.
So wait, what's your true or false?
I said false.
Say two false
Okay.
and one true.
You guys are probably right.
Let's see.
All right, so Alex says it's true.
You son of a bitch.
David says false. And Connor says false. All right. If you're playing along at home, make your guesses right now. That story was true.
Oh, God damn it.
Alex off to a roaring start with 1
right.
point.
You know what that means?
Wait,
0 points for the
wait,
fellas.
you know what's funny, Alex? It was already like predetermined.
Oh wait, we gotta get the penalty ready.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, what are you saying, David?
It's predetermined because someone already left a point for you on the board, so we don't even have to add it. It's- see?
That was fate.
Yeah, I don't think Alex should get any points either. Good point.
All right, let's do this one normal and then we'll do
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a price to pay for being a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I've been paying this price for being a failure for a long time.
I'm a masochist. All right. Nice job, guys. Alex leads currently with 1 point. David and Connor, you guys are about to redeem yourselves, I think. Let's go back to the cue prompt.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Votes.
I'm telling you, he's really fucking good
I'm
at
gonna
this.
substitute my thing for this.
All right.
Even when I guess correctly, I'm not confident about it. I'm never confident about
Yeah, that
whether I'm right or wrong.
That one was tough.
Alex, do you want to maybe read this next one?
Yeah, I'll do it from here because I can see it here too.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to start the thing.
Oh, that is new tech.
You sharing your screen?
Yes. Do you see it?
Yep. Do I start with Shiva?
Yep.
Shiva, god of destruction, was given the title Lord of Bang because the cannabis plant was his favorite food. Ancient Hindu, I lost it.
Oh, that's okay. Go back to the article. There you go.
I might come over there actually. Okay. I'm ready.
Okay.
The ancient Hindus believed that fever.
Wait, hold on.
Sorry, folks. We're testing out new tech here.
That's right. And let's begin.
Shiva, god of destruction, was given the title Lord of Bang because the cannabis plant was his favorite food. Ancient Hindus thought that the medicinal benefits from cannabis came from its use pleasing the gods, such as Shiva. The ancient Hindus believed that fever came from the hot breath of the gods, an expression of anger at a person's behavior, and that cannabis could reduce the fever if used in religious rites. This is actually true, as tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, acts on the hypothalamus to reduce body temperature.
So they're saying that the ancient Hindus thought that cannabis could reduce the hot, angry breath of the gods. And it turns out that cannabis actually does lower your body temperature.
Mhm.
Isn't that surprising?
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Ancient people knew a bunch of shit. Like they were able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like they were way smarter than we are.
I don't know
Ancient
about
people are way
that.
smarter than us. Yes, you might know about that, but
Lord of Bang.
good point.
Okay, is it
Let's
possible
talk
it's
about it.
pronounced Lord of Bong? Do you guys think? Could it be pronounced Lord of Bong?
Could be throwing us off.
Oh, the fact that you asked made me think this is not true.
Yes. Also, Alex, when you said Lord of Bang, you kind of sound a little bit like Hank Hill.
Lord of Bang.
Lord of Bang.
Hell yeah.
God dang it, Shiva.
God of destruction.
Yeah, the god
Just
is
give
like
me that Lord of
did her
Bang.
breath on him. He just feels a fever and just says it out loud.
Hank Hill escaped Samsara.
Now he's got to roll a joint.
All right. Any more thoughts on this connection to Shiva?
Okay.
Based on, I'm not going to say why. I think this story's false.
I also think it's false, and I'm wondering if I should. Well,
I'm gonna go false.
okay. Now that we have the same answer, this would have been at least from a locale perspective where I would have thought that they first started using cannabis. Also, the fact that you said the ancient Hindus makes me think that 2800 BC is probably not far back enough.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Final votes. What do you guys think?
False.
Alex?
Still false.
False? Is it falses across the board?
Yeah.
False, a false, and a false. Folks playing along at home, make your guesses. This story is true.
Oh,
Sorry, boys. Oh, you doubted the ancient Hindus. But no, that's right. All of these things are true as well. Even the thing about it lowering your body temperature and reducing fever is also true.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It's anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, you made a good point. It'll to understand that connection is pretty advanced. That's cool.
Yeah, they were able to know a lot about the stars and shit.
Well, also think about it more logically, right? Like we're so inundated with chemicals in modernity that like stuff like drugs isn't a spiritual experience to us. We're constantly flooded with all kinds of drugs, whether you want to look at it that way, not sugar, all kinds of stuff. So like it would make much more sense if these people who are not inundated with chemicals are like, whoa, I'm actually noticing a distinct change in my body as a result of taking this thing that's not particularly plentiful. you know.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, you guys take your punishment there. I'll read the next one. All right, we're going to jump forward in time a little bit here. Several of our founding fathers grew hemp. Both Thomas Jefferson and George Washington grew it and separated the strains by male and female, most likely in order to improve potency. There are some records of Jefferson actually smoking the plant. He said the following in 1809, quote, some of my finest hours have been spent on my back veranda, smoking hemp and observing as far as my eye can see.
His inner eye.
His inner eye. Dude, our founding fathers were opening their third eyes.
That's how they discovered freedom. They're like, wait a minute, the British suck. The British are bad people.
Man, they keep taking my money.
Yeah.
It's like, why have to do your own taxes?
Fucking
Dude,
Brits.
that's because they were fucking stoned when they wrote all that stuff.
Yeah.
I believe it's
On
true.
hemp.
On that hemp rope.
You ever try writing the greatest document by any government throughout human history on weed?
Here's the reason I do believe it. Hemp was a thing. They used to make like ropes and stuff out of it. So if they have access to it, why wouldn't you like also smoke it? If
Was
it's
that-
there.
Was that the whole story?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because that did used to be illegal. Like people would just like grow it.
We'll get to it later, but yeah, at this time it was an industry. Hemp. Like it was a paper alternative. I think like you could use it in substitution for even wood and some things
That's why it
like
was
fabric.
illegal.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
The timber industry.
I do know some about that. Is the main reason there's such a pushback against weed is because of hemp, and that other agricultural other types of agriculture industries did not like hemp.
Inferior
Yeah.
industries.
Inferior industries.
Even the oil industry, right? Because like even all our pill capsules are made out of petroleum byproducts. So like, you know, you could use hemp oil to replace all kinds of different
Oh
stuff.
wow.
So they just want to make everything like as chemical based as like possible.
Yeah.
I don't think Thomas Jefferson would be very happy about that.
No.
No, I do not. I think if he was sitting on his back veranda smoking hemp and observing as far as his eye can see, he'd observe these big businesses doing that and be pretty disappointed.
He's like,
That's what I say.
he's like, that is the entire reason I fought against the British is so I could smoke weed. Like that is what America was about. He's like, at least for me.
Before we start the actual thing, I will say I think the founding fathers are actually really cool dudes. Because what's really cool about this period is throughout most of history, to become like a leader, you kind of like you were born into it. Like you just like it was given to you.
Sure. Aristocracy.
But because America was such like a new nation, especially in this time period, they were literally making it. The people who made it were people who were chosen to be leaders because they actually had like the skills and knowledge. There wasn't a way, there wasn't like a king of America who could just like give it to his buddies. You like had to earn it.
Yeah, I mean, it is truly like because you have to create those communities, well, on the land that other communities had existed on, but because you have to create those communities basically from scratch, you have to depend on your community leaders like that. It's a good point.
And they have to like actually be reliable, actually like do their like work. They can't just earn it. Oh no, not earn it, but they can't just be given to them.
Yeah,
We're not a homogenous culture either. So we're united by an idea rather than blood.
yeah.
Fuck yeah,
And an
America.
appreciation of that fine herb. That's what brings us all together.
Yes.
All right, let's get final votes on this one here. We got to keep it moving. Do you guys think that the founding fathers were token up on that fine herb?
I say true.
Yeah, David's got a true.
I'm gonna say true.
Alex with a true. Connor?
I think it's false.
We got a false from Connor. All right.
No, but like
Is that your final decision?
I mean, I'm not confident about my answer.
yeah, it's my final decision. I know that they were growing hemp. But I
We
think
don't know if they were smoking it.
well, I think hemp is very different than budded
That's
pot that we smoke.
Like, you can use male plants for hemp, right?
Well, yeah. Precisely.
Yeah.
All right, y'all playing along at home, make your final guesses. This story was false.
Oh,
Oh, they
you
were
son of
not
a
toking
bitch.
up on that fine herb.
They were not. I knew that.
Yes, nice.
And
one.
now I'm
Good
a
one,
toke
Conor.
I didn't
up
want
on
to
that
wear on
finer.
too much that I can't do
Mhm.
that.
All right, I'm gonna give you your
Yeah.
point.
So here's the thing. That quote, some of my finest hours have been spent on my back porch smoking hemp and observing as far as my eye can see. I looked that up. The earliest attribution of that quote was 2008. So Thomas Jefferson did not say that shit. They were growing hemp, but they weren't smoking on it. Or
Not that we know of from
Yeah.
some kind of record.
if they were, it's like they probably weren't doing it much.
Well, weed
not
is
enough to
very
even write it
different
down.
at that time also.
Well, yeah, again, like it's an industrial product. Like they're doing it to sell for all kinds of different things. Like they're not. The cultivation of flower is that's new,
Yeah.
and that's selective. That's also it's in marijuana's best interest to propagate, just like every living organism. So, like they're fine when we select the things we like.
And plus, it was probably a lot weaker back then too, because they were selecting for like
Thank you.
Yes.
making this shit into rope, not like
Yeah. That's true. That separating the male and female like strains, it wasn't to smoke upon it. It was just to make better rope.
That was
Yeah.
that was masterful, the crafting of that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
well
you.
done.
But I knew Thomas Jefferson didn't say that.
That was good too. All right, so that means that no points for Alex, 1 point. David, no points. Conor did earn a point on that one. So currently the lead is a tie between Alex and Conor. But we got plenty of stories to get to. It's still anyone's game. All right, we're going to go to our next story. Does either of you two want to tag in on this one?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Cool.
I'll do the next one after this.
Perfect.
Cannabis was introduced to Western medicine around 1841 when William Brooke O'Shaughnessy wrote about its many uses after living in India. Shaughnessy wrote about many uses for cannabis, including one account where he described cannabis reducing convolutions in a child.
Convulsions.
Convulsions, that's what I said too. I'm not saying at all your stuff. Convulsions in a child.
All right, so yeah, cannabis for its first recorded use as a medicine in the Western
to
world.
babies.
Yeah, dude, there's blowing clouds in babies' faces.
Wait, let's make a quick note. First use, but in the Western world,
Western medicine. Yes, that's an important note.
because it was probably like he mentioned was used in China like way before.
Any discussion points, or do you guys want to just move straight to the voting on this one? I do like that he used it to reduce convulsions in a child, and that they're now funding like Parkinson's studies with cannabis too. It's a cool thing.
It's really funny to me. It's like the first recorded medical use is them blowing clouds in a baby's face. It's pretty great.
Bring me that shaking baby.
I'm gonna say true because I want it to be true. I don't
Okay.
want that to be something that happened.
We get a true from Alex.
I'm also saying true.
Yeah, let's go true all through.
True's down the board.
Because it is legitimately used to help epileptics.
Yeah.
But William Brooke
It's good for so
O'Shaughnessy, I don't
much.
know.
There's actually, this is not medical advice, but it may actually help against cancer. Like people,
It's anti-inflammatory.
yeah.
Cancer is inflammation, repetitive inflammation.
And there's not really anything that says that it doesn't. Although it has not been proven that is true.
I think the only way to prove that untrue is if it was inflammatory and it made you more inflamed. Can't really prove a negative.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a possibility that that's the case. Anyway, point being, it's really good for a lot of things, and that's why it's illegal.
True.
Because it would put a lot of other industries between hemp and weed. It'd put pharmaceuticals out. It'd put so much of agriculture's money out. Anyway.
Yeah.
Legalize it.
Legalize it. Don't criticize it. Okay, guys, we're going to go to the voting here. We had trues down the board. Y'all playing along at home, make your final votes. This story was true. Nice job, you guys. Y'all had the intuition.
Okay,
so everyone earns a point, and I'll take a penalty one.
Yeah. And I think you have to do the hash.
All right, so that's 2-1-2.
You have to rip a huge bowl of hash, I think is what you need to do.
You're spiteful, dude.
Yeah, I am.
It's spiteful.
Yeah, fuck you.
All right. Yeah,
You
we'll
will
get this.
fail.
You go now.
You go now.
You fail.
All right, so David, did you want to read this next one here?
Sure.
I'm gonna get this ready for you, Evan.
Please.
Cannabinol, CBN, was isolated in 1898, and cannabinoid CBD was isolated around 1940. CBD has become far more popular, so research into CBN is actually still ongoing today. It seems to be more effective for sleep and appetite management, whereas CBD is more effective at pain management. Further study is needed.
So that means, just to recap for the folks at home here, cannabinol, CBN, that's an isolate of THC, of cannabis, was isolated in 1898. CBD was isolated about 1940. So I think the cool thing here is that CBD has existed since 1940. It's pretty interesting thing.
Yeah.
So here's what's tricky about this one. All the details, like the things they talk about, like helping you, that's all true. The question is the time actually like accurate? That's where he could trip us up.
It's like a half truth. It's not a full truth. So you're saying some of that could be true.
Like the thing where like it helps you with those things, that's true.
Yeah.
You're saying like I'm being like lazy with two truths and a lie, where I'm like, yeah, I've been to 3 other countries. Really, I've only been to 2 other countries. You think it's a numbers thing?
It could be. That's all I'm saying.
And Evan's like, I have way too much integrity to ever do something.
But he could also be trying to trick you.
It's true. What do you have to say for yourself, Evan?
I'm not going to say nothing, dude. You guys can speculate as much as you want to. All I care about is what you vote.
I think it's true.
Yeah, I also think it's true.
And despite what I said, I still think it's true. It's just too true.
Truth's down the board.
The only way it's wrong is that you're messing with us with the time.
That story was true. Nice job, you guys. So that is 3, 2, 3. Currently, folks, if you are listening on audio, the scores lie: Alex with 3 points, David with 2 points, and Connor with 3 points.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right, baby. All right. We're going to go to our next story here. Alex, you want to read this next one?
Yes.
Absolutely. And all right, there we go.
And you must rip a huge bowl of this legal weed.
Go ahead.
The film Reefer Madness debuted in 1936, mischaracterizing the drug as harmful and capable of producing intense psychosis. The film's release led to at least 15 criminal trials over the next 10 years, in which the defendant claimed some form of cannabis-induced psychosis or real-life reefer madness. The most notable case was the 1939 Foundry Rampage, in which the disgruntled Cincinnati steel foundry worker shot and killed, that's not funny, shot and killed 2 of his coworkers and injured 3 more. Jesus Christ.
Speed it up a little.
The defendant tried to file a plea of insanity on the grounds that he was high at the time, but he was ultimately sentenced to life imprisonment. Good. That's a good thing. Jeez, dude.
Can you imagine walking into the court and be like, sorry, judge, I was high.
I had the reefer madness.
So let me get this straight.
I was stoned. I didn't mean to do it.
Have y'all seen Reefer Madness?
No.
Okay, so it's a propaganda film.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, people are entering psychosis, is going on killing sprees, jumping out of windows. Like, it is insane. And it's so funny. We actually watched it live on Rabbit Hole one time because it's public access now. That's how old it is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's close to 100 years old by now.
Yeah.
Because what I'm curious about was Coke still legal in this time period?
Coke was probably seen as a medicine at this time too. I think it was probably being used in patent medicines close to this time.
Yeah, so it's like
so they're doing Reefer Madness, but they're like prescribing blow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's fine.
This cannabis is making you crazy. Take some heroin.
Have some, here, shoot some cocaine.
Have this Coke with actual Coke.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
You know, a nice child's beverage. Cocaine cola.
Any more thoughts on this one?
So let me get this straight. After this movie came out, people started using I was high as an excuse to get away with things.
Yes.
And it didn't work in this particular murder trial. I can't remember. Did it say that it worked in other cases? Okay.
No, just talked about the
Just this
foundry
one
rampage.
that-
Yeah, there were 15 such cases.
Damn. I think this is true. And I hope that it's not. Because it's horrible.
All right, we got a true from Alex.
Okay, but like which parts of it? Because like I feel like I don't know what year it meant this came out, right? But also like I've never heard of that case. I believe the people were being like, I was high, I was on my phone.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either. It is a big deal. It does kind of feel like, what was it, 2 dead and 3 injured? Was that right?
I'm also gonna say it's true, although I don't feel good about it.
2 was popping off.
Yeah, he killed 2 of his coworkers and injured 3 more. So
crashed
I mean,
out.
that is a pretty big deal that it does feel like I would have heard of, right?
You would have heard of a 1937 murder case.
Yeah, because it's about weed.
Name me another weed murder case.
There aren't any, because no one kills people on weed. Oh, except that one chick that stabbed her. She did the same thing. That's right. It was in California. She like stabbed her boyfriend a bunch of times and the dog, and was able to blame it because he was peer pressuring her into doing more dabs.
Mr. Cookies.
Are you talking about like the area?
I don't know if that's her name, but it was recent, and it's pretty much the same thing. She got away with murder for saying it was like because she did too many dabs.
She was dabbed out.
Yeah, that was not long ago. Look that up. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
True. I think it's true.
Okay, you get it true. David, what do you think on this one? I'll look up the dab thing in a sec.
I'm not gonna do it based on whether I think it's true or not. I need to catch up, so I'm gonna go false if they're both going true.
Okay, we get David taking the opposite.
Good strategy.
That was clever.
That was a good strategy.
Okay.
I might still end up fucking up, so cool.
We'll see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen at home, make your final votes. This story was false.
Oh,
Ooh, nice
fuck.
job, David. That paid off for you, my friend. That ties it up at 3 all across the board.
Like I said, I'm gonna say true, but I did not feel good about that.
I
at
didn't
all.
either, man. It's tough.
So here's the
Same's not
interesting
easy.
thing. This is the cool thing about this story. The Reefer Madness thing is all true. It came out in 1936.
This is why it confused me.
Yeah, but its release did not lead to criminal trials over the next few years. It was actually inspired by a real life Reefer Madness murder. There was someone who killed like his family, and he said that it was because he had smoked too much weed.
So
The
it's-
crime inspired the movie. The movie didn't inspire the crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Well played.
All right. Thank
Well
you.
played.
And let me finish this one, and then you guys must suffer a penalty. We're going to move on to some true crime after this. You guys have any more thoughts on the history of cannabis and what we've learned today?
I learned that what I do, my body, my choice. I can do whatever I want, and you're not my dad, and you can't tell me what I can and can't do. That's what I think.
I think what I learned is summed up by a Tom Segura bit that culminates something like, I like the way the weed makes me feel.
Truer words ever been spoken.
And then the guy was given a medical license in Los Angeles. Yeah. Thank you.
Tom Segura?
Well, no, yeah, he was trying to go get, he was trying to go get his, or at least for the bid, he was going to get like his medical weed license in California. And in front of him was like this, like middle-aged cholo guy with some face tattoos. And like it's a shitty doc. All these were like shitty doc. I've been to these places, so I thought this was hilarious. These were like shitty little rooms that were masquerading as doctors' offices so these people could make money.
Mhm.
And so you can hear the patient in there before you, and he's like, I'm all nervous, like making up all these maladies, He's like, and the guy in front of me, this Mexican fellow, and he's like, I just like the way that weed makes me feel. It's like, don't be white and weird. You know who that guy is. But yeah, so that always stuck with me because I think that's hilarious.
Tom Segura, he's a wise man.
Yeah.
He's also a total psychopath.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You guys ever seen your mom's house?
Yeah.
Clips of it.
I mean, this is kind of fucked
Kiefer
up.
showed me that. It's so fucked
Yeah,
up.
Kiefer showed me those clips back then too. It was like there was like the girl that was making the coffees, and people were just destroying her in like the Instagram comments. They're reading them. You ever seen that thing?
No.
Oh, it was a really good Your Mom's House clip. I feel like we should probably keep the podcast moving
Yeah, let's
instead
do
of
it.
talking about other podcasts, but yeah, that's one for the folks at home. All right. So we're gonna move into some real life true crime cases here. I did my best to find things that happened in the last month or so. It was pretty tough. I have one that took place a couple months ago. I have one that took place in the last month, and I have one that it took place a couple years ago, but it's going to be worth it. I promise you. I
Okay.
promise.
Hell yeah. Okay.
All right. Slide all the way to the top here, and let's get back to our screen share. By the way,
who is supposed to smoke as a penalty?
you two.
Oh, no.
David's gambit paid
Oh,
off.
no.
He's safe.
That's
You-
bad.
You two are on punishment.
I wanted to change
Oh,
my
boy.
spot, so I didn't. Damn it, this is definitely not true. I already said true, but I'm not positive about either one.
All right. Start proper. All right, I'll go ahead and read this next one here. Authorities confiscate over 18,000 kilos of cannabis from Canberra farm. This is an Australian story. This comes from The Guardian. The author is
That
Gerald.
means you have to read it in an Australian accent.
Gladly. The author is Gerald Bachman. Date is January 14th, 2025. I just want to make sure before I do this, does anyone have a really good Australian accent? Do either of you two want to tag in?
Nar.
Not that I care to do this stone now.
I think
In
Alex
front of
is,
Alice.
No.
Alex
It's
is
gotta
the
be
best
you,
at
Evan.
this.
All
He's done
right.
it before.
No.
I'll tell you what, I'll start it. If Alex wants to tag in, then he definitely should. All right. One person was arrested and over 10,000 plants were seized after an investigation led to a marijuana grow operation bust on Friday in Canberra, according to the Australian Crime Commission. Yeah, I suck at this. The marijuana enforcement said it served a search warrant at Bemaloo LLC, located near Victoria Land South and 12th West Avenue, as the investigation is looking into illegal activities linked to the grow operation. Here's a breakdown of what agents seized. 20,750 plants, 17,400 kilos of
Crikey.
processed marijuana. Crikey, indeed. Agents believe more arrests are possible as the investigation continues. The identity of the person arrested has not been released. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
I appreciate it.
If you weren't white,
You sounded the right amount of stupid.
if you weren't
That was
white,
the correct amount of stupid.
That's what
to
an
pull it off.
Australian news anchors sound
Yeah,
like too.
Evan,
That's what's funny.
Evan, if you weren't white, that would be like the most racist thing I've ever
It would be even funnier.
It would be. Oh, that'd be better.
Oh my god, yeah. All right.
heard. Like imagine having like an Asian or Indian dude do that
That'd be
accent.
so funny.
That would really
Can we-
enhance this
Is there
podcast.
something like that we can hire?
Yeah.
Can we just hire people of multiple ethnicities to do Australian accents
That
on
would-
our show?
That would be a show in and of itself.
Like Fiverr probably.
No, but
Get
have
on
them
there,
do different
request
ones.
it.
Like do German. Now do British. Do like just a bunch of like white accents.
Yeah. Scottish, Irish. There's a lot of funny ones.
Yeah.
Italian.
Italians. That's...
New York Italian. Like, hey, I'm walking here.
Authorities confiscate over 1,800 kilos of cannabis from Canberra Farm. The Guardian, author Gerald Bachman. One person was arrested, over 10,000 plants were seized after an investigation led to marijuana grow operation bust on Friday in Canberra, according to Australian Crime Commission. Oh, you think it's better than me being able to read now like that? Is that what you think?
I've been watching Sopranos for the first time, and I'm so into it. Have you seen it,
I've not.
dude? It's so good.
Can you do
David,
one
have
there?
you seen?
No, I can't.
Have you seen any of
Plus,
the Sopranos?
Evan's here. I can't
No,
do
but
an
I want-
Italian accent in front of Evan. That would be.
It's dude.
But
That's
I want
cultural
to, I want to,
appropriation.
though.
Yeah.
I did an
It's
accent.
a cultural appropriation.
I did an
You can't do
accent.
that, dude.
I did an accent to somebody like that because I thought they were messing with me. And they were giving me compliments after I played. And I proceeded to, unbeknownst to me, make fun of this man to his face
Hell yeah.
for about a minute until I realized, oh, he's not joking. This is what this man sounds like. Who's like, hey, I really like you guys. You guys are really good. It was a really good performance. And I'm like, oh, I really appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. And he was like, no, seriously, I really like your band. Like, what's your name? You know? And I'm like, my name's Conor. He's like, cool, man. Like, when you guys playing yet? And it occurs to me at some point around here that I'm like, uh-oh.
This is not a bit.
This guy's big and scary. I may have just fucked up. I was like, well, man, I got to get my gear out of the venue. So I'll talk to you later, you know?
Imagine you did that to like an Indian dude.
Oh, God.
Oh my
That
god.
would be crazy. All right. Any thoughts on this Australian Canberra grow operation?
I don't know.
Canberra.
I have no idea.
Okay, scroll up to the top. Oh, okay.
It's in kilos.
Okay,
Dude,
go
this
down
is-
to the other numbers. Okay.
When was this? This was recently?
Mhm.
January?
This is January 14th, 2025.
So I have two
Oh, I
things.
think I might have fucked up the
I
title.
have two
here.
things. One, would it be easy to grow there? I feel like it'd be hard to grow in Australia. However,
Indoor.
yeah, true.
Yeah, true.
However, since Australia is like separated from like the rest of the world, they would have to make a lot of their own. Like they can't really importing would be a lot harder. So I don't know.
So from what I understand, like this is only from like stuff I've kind of heard in crosstalk on Australian guys' YouTube channels. Oh, by the way, we have a picture for this one. Sorry, I forgot about this. Check this out. That's a picture of the grow op, dude. That's what
So
they
like you said,
confiscated.
indoor. Yeah.
Oh, definitely indoor.
Yeah.
Because they're processing it.
Oh yeah. That
So
that
this is a corporation doing this.
yeah. It's
So-
very, very controlled operation.
It's very legit.
Yeah, but I think like the thing I saw on YouTube though is like a lot of it, like their organized crime. A lot of it's like Chinese and like Asian like crime, you know, just because they're so close.
Yeah.
Maybe they might even have a yakuza.
Yeah.
You never know.
Japan. The Japans.
I'll do a really racist Japanese voice if there's a Japanese story anywhere.
Oh, you don't
No,
have to do
save that for
that.
the book of this one.
Oh yeah. Anytime I quote from the book.
you gotta do it in there.
What's
So-
the book? How to do a
so-
Japanese accent?
So for book club this month, David, I'll talk about this. So David picked this book called Sun and Steel, and he's like, it's about this Japanese bodybuilder, and I'm like, cool, sounds awesome. What I come to find out is this is the manifesto of a guy who led a coup that failed and committed seppuku, and this was
Oh.
his manifesto before he died.
Okay.
He also was a bodybuilder, and I'm like, I mean, I would have been more enthusiastic to read it if I knew this is what it was.
But also it's a wild swoop you do.
Yeah. But it's awesome, and I will definitely do like a really like
Every time.
dramatized Japanese accent every time I quote from it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, we should probably keep it moving here, fellas. What do you guys think about the story? True or false? Let's get final votes in
False.
here.
True.
Big old false
I'll go
for
true.
Connor. And we got 2 trues from Alex and David.
Yep.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this story was false.
God,
Nice
damn it.
job,
Thank you.
Connor.
So you just looked up generic like weed farm.
I looked.
Yes, he did.
So what I looked up marijuana busts and in like Google, and then I found one that was about actually like an Oklahoma bust of some different amount of weed.
Damn.
But I kind of replaced it with a lot of Australian
No, and
stuff.
number-
That's my
number- yeah.
gambit, dude.
You
I make an
tricky
Australian
motherfucker.
story so I could do the voice the
The
whole
number-
time and
Oh.
fool you.
The
The
number
image. How do you look up the image?
Oh, that was on the original story actually.
Oh.
This is weed taken from a bust in Oklahoma.
Oh.
the numbers didn't add up. 20,000 plants would be.
Oh yeah. I also thought you guys noticed this. I said authorities confiscate over 18,000 kilos of cannabis in the title, and then I said that they took 17,400
Wow.
kilos of
Well,
processed
yeah,
marijuana.
but
I was
even
worried you noticed
Adding
that.
up all those plants, that's how I figured it out. Adding up all those plants, I'm like, that would be like over probably 25,000 kilos, you know,
Mm.
for the whole thing. So they would have been a higher number.
Smart, very smart.
Connor's in the lead now.
All right, Connor takes the lead. What are we at points wise here?
4-3-3.
3.
Which means you guys gotta hit this weed this time, not me.
Scared.
All right, we're gonna move on to our next story here. Would either you two guys, actually, Connor, do you want to tag in Reed for a little bit?
Oh yeah, can I do my like big
Oh yeah.
paisan voice?
Yes.
Yes, the story is from Colorado, but I think that you should still do
Especially
New York
because
voice.
the
Yeah, I'll do it.
author's name is Jennifer. I think you absolutely have to do like a
Yeah,
greasy
brother, okay.
Italian.
Hey, my name's Jennifer.
You can call me Jenny.
Jenny
All right.
from the block. All right, let's go.
Colorado State Patrol recovers hundreds of pounds of marijuana stolen from the evidence trailer. CBS News, Jennifer McRae, April 11th, 2025. Colorado State Patrol has recovered 3/4 of 600 pounds of marijuana that was stolen from an evidence trailer last week. The marijuana was scheduled to be destroyed. Interesting. The investigation started during a property walkthrough on the CPS evidence parking lot on April 4th. That's when an evidence technician was found damage to secured alternative gate located away from the entrance. Further investigation revealed that a secured trailer had been broken into, and approximately 600 pounds of marijuana had been stolen from inside the trailer. The trailer and contents had been taken into evidence as part of the highway drug investigation. During the investigation, authorities revealed that the suspect's voice came to the site after dark on the evening of April 1st and used the power tool to remove a lock on the gate, and the lock secured the trailer. About 6 p.m. on April 10, state troopers and the Denver Police Department executed a search warrant on a residential property in Denver. Police had a Chevrolet Silverado in police custody for an unrelated matter. And they determined it was the same vehicle seen in the surveillance video of the burglary. According to investigators, no one was home when officers entered and no arrests were made. How long is this?
This is the longest one.
Troopers recovered about 3/4 of the stolen marijuana. Who smoked a quarter of that? From inside the residence and a shed that was located on the property. CSP said that they also recovered a stolen GMC pickup truck in the residence, that it was unrelated to the marijuana theft. They were stealing cars too, okay. CSP and the recovered marijuana was placed back into evidence in a secure interior location.
Wow.
Holy
Well
shit.
done.
Nice. Sorry, that was kind of a longer one.
That's all I had, you guys.
So, as a Guido yourself, how would you rate Connor's performance?
10 out of 10. Absolutely.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
That's what I was.
Yeah,
thinking.
you said foist. That was really good.
Very good.
Nice. Yeah, you sound like a cock to stake some bribes.
That's why I like reading this stuff. I gotta stay up on, what's going down.
I wonder. Did that happen?
I have no idea.
When did it say it happened?
April 11th, 2025. This was the one that was actually within
just
our.
happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone stole 600 pounds of pot
That's nuts.
from a company, probably a private company. Like, I know GlaxoSmithKline destroys tons of drugs for the cops. So I doubt that they were actually robbing the police. It was their. Okay.
Kind of sounds like it was like it was an evidence trailer out behind the police station
Oh,
that they
got it.
broke into
Okay.
and stole a bunch of marijuana from.
I was focusing so hard on trying to do that voice that I had no idea what was in
Like,
that
what did I
story.
just say?
No, you're good. They busted into an evidence trailer out back, stole approximately 600 pounds of marijuana. They had been taken into evidence as part of a highway drug investigation. So they must have pulled over like a truck full of marijuana.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
600 pounds of pot is a lot of pot.
What's your estimate? How tall would that pile be if it was like bricks this size?
Yeah.
if you're at home listening on an audio medium, we're holding one of those like cookie packages. So
It probably wouldn't even be bricks anymore though, because they don't want to destroy, unless it was just like pot they're using for processing, like turning into fucking hash oil, you know what I mean? Turning into live resin, like, yeah, then you just put it in the compound compression press. But like if people are smoking that pot and it's ain't good, like they're not gonna have it bricks, you know? So like that might be, it depends what it looks like, it depends what it's being used for.
sure. Bit of a cop out answer, but that's okay.
No, not even, because like if they're trying to preserve the buds, like bro, that would be quite a bit of space. If it's just like for doing other shit, like yeah, it would be smaller.
No, you're totally right. I mean, it would also just like crush itself under the weight of all these
Yeah.
vacuum packages. Yeah.
Because the question is, do you think it's so much that it would be hard to like steal? That's the real
Yeah.
question.
600 pounds. I mean, over the course of a night, like loading up a truck a few times, maybe bringing over like 200 pounds at a time, it's doable. I don't know why I'm arguing for these guys, but it's doable. That's all I'm saying.
Because it's not a weight thing. It's like this amount, like the space that would take or whatever.
I don't
But
know.
what are we thinking on votes here? We should keep
I'm
it
thinking,
rolling.
I'm thinking it's false.
Okay, we got a false from David. Or false from Conor, sorry. David, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with true.
True.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just doing the trick where I'm trying to catch up with him. That's why. So I got to do the opposite of what he's doing, which might be a bad strats. We'll see.
Sure.
For the folks playing along at home, that story was true. Correct. Nice job, you guys. Sorry, Conor. That one, they got you.
That's all good.
I'm gonna let
Got
Alex
bogged down
read
in
this next one.
details.
So now we're all tied up again.
While I read that, can you pack this again?
Actually, I was gonna hit the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
I think you're gonna enjoy reading this one.
Violent pot ringleader Hitler pleads guilty to Oakland murder for hire. Source CBS News, author unlisted, date December 1st, 2019. San Francisco CBS SF, a Louisiana man nicknamed Hitler, who allegedly ran a violent marijuana trafficking ring, has pleaded guilty to multiple conspiracy charges for hiring another man to murder a man in East Oakland in 2016, according to federal prosecutors. Marcus, 38 of St. Martin Parish, LA, a co-defendant, Mario Robinson, 36 of Opelousas, LA, and Oakland, who pleaded guilty to similar charges, admitted in their plea agreements accepted by U.S. District Attorney Judge William Alsop that they were involved in an enterprise based in Louisiana consisting of more than 7 members who conducted a continuing and extensive narcotics distribution conspiracy, prosecutors said. Etienne admitted that he was the leader of the enterprise beginning as early as 2009, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Prosecutors said Etienne and Robinson acknowledged that the enterprise engaged in murder for hire, narcotics distribution, assault, robbery, extortion, money laundering, illegal firearm possessions, gambling on dogfighting, and obstruction of justice.
Everything.
Etienne and Robinson could face life in prison when they're sentenced by Judge Alsop on April 7th. The men also admitted to their roles in the murder of 28-year-old Trent Thibodeau of Los Gatos and the 8900 block of International Boulevard at about 10 feet
10 feet away.
at some point in time in 2016. Prosecutors said Etienne ordered the murder of Thibodeau because he believed Thibodeau had stolen money and narcotics from the enterprise. Etienne offered Robinson $5,000 to murder Thibodeau. Robinson accepted the offer and then paid $1,200
For the hit?
to complete the murder.
Cheap ass hit.
Oh, an indictment returned by federal grand jury on December 2018, the year, alleges that Bert Gucci.
Gucci Rhodes, bro.
This person's name, Berto Gucci Rhodes.
Oh, that guy was the person who shot and killed Thibodeau. Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks.
Rhodes is being prosecuted separately, and his trial is scheduled to begin next June 15th. The plea agreements for Etienne and Robinson said the enterprise bought marijuana in California and used the U.S. Postal Service to ship the drugs to Louisiana and Texas.
They're just mailing them.
In addition, prosecutors said Etienne admitted he bought and maintained dogs used for fighting in Brew Bridge, LA,
Louisiana.
on a property owned by another member of the enterprise. Etienne and other members of the enterprise hosted dog fighting at that property, matches at which attendees would pay a cover fee and bet money on the dog fights, according to prosecutors. Dogs, including some owned by Etienne, were seriously injured and even killed either during the events or as a result of the training leading up to the events, prosecutors said. Etienne and Robinson could face life in prison when they're sentenced by Judge Alsop on April 7th. Editor's note, Robinson was sentenced to life plus 48 years. Good.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't find
Fuck
what
that
happened to Ed
motherfucker.
yet. Yeah, dude, dog fighting.
Yeah.
Organizing a murder. So
It's like, oh, this guy killed a bunch of people. It's like, I mean, I'll try to find some empathy for that. It's like this guy was involved in dogs being hurt. Is like, well, I mean, what's the maximum thing we can do to a person as a penalty?
And then add years on top of
And
that.
then add additional to that. Also, his name was Hitler.
yeah, that was Marcus Etienne. He's nicknamed Hitler.
I think whatever the worst thing you can do to him, let's do that.
I wonder if this was like a self-proclaimed nickname or if someone else gave that to him.
I think he definitely named himself. I think he just like tried to talk people into calling him that. And they're like, all right, dude, stop being weird. I'll just call you that.
Dude, that's why he took a plea deal. Imagine taking that to court and like having an LA jury. Oh yeah, by the way, this guy's nickname is Hitler.
Yikes.
He's not winning. He's not winning that case.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Big yikes.
Oh, this guy's Hitler. Okay, what do you guys think of that story? First off, just like, initial thoughts, and then we can move to the voting. Oh, we also got a picture of this, I think, is Hitler right here.
Dude, like, I feel like the details of this are so absurd that it has to be true.
Wait a minute. Is that Kanye?
Yeah, even his picture.
Dude,
It's Kanye.
this happened back in 2018,
2019, I thought.
2019. Yes,
article
December
2019.
1st, 2019. Oh, Christmas
man.
season.
She's so goofy.
That's what I mean.
It is goofy as fuck.
Like,
And it was long and it had all those difficult names. And I'm like, he specifically said I should read this one. I'm like, that's fucked up.
And he's black.
Yeah, why'd you make Hitler black, Evan? What the fuck, bro? That's fucked up that you wrote.
I
all
didn't
that.
give him the nickname, all right?
I'm just
Damn
saying.
it.
I'm just saying it's fucked up that you wrote that.
I know what I think, but I don't want to be wrong. So I'm gonna be losing for the first time, or second time.
It's actually tied up again.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, what's the move, guys?
Connor is doing so good for his first time on this.
Absolutely.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. I want to somebody else go first. I want to first.
What do you think, David?
You go first, and I'll go after you.
I'm gonna need a final vote from somebody here.
I'm gonna say true.
All right, we get a true.
Because as stated,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also think it's true. I think like it's absurd. It has to be true.
All right, we got.
Oh yeah, because I lost last time.
yeah. R.I.P., bro.
I know. I'm already RIP.
David, did I hear a false from your side of the table? You're keeping up the gambit here, going false. Okay. All right. This story, just to recap, violent pot ringleader Hitler pleads guilty to Oakland murder for hire. This story was true. Too absurd to be fake.
Yeah, dude, that just it was
Gotta be true.
Okay, the part that really gave it away for me was like, what's his name was paid $5,000, and then he delegated that for
1250 is so funny, dude. $5,000 for a murder is insane.
Yes,
like
that's a low amount of money. And then he found someone to actually do it for $1,200.
I can't believe
That
it.
is
He just
crazy.
acted as a middleman. He's like, I'm not doing that shit.
They still keep like, yeah.
That's wild.
Oh man. All right, nice job, you guys. Let's go over the scores one more time. We got currently there's still a tie for first place. Alex and Connor stand at 5 points each, and David is standing at 4. Yep.
It's like no.
We're about to move to our last section of the game here.
Tiebreaker.
Any thoughts about how it's been going so far?
I love
Thoughts
this.
about this
I'm
stories? Yeah.
I am so fucking high.
I'm having so much fun, but also, yeah, like every time I take off my sunglasses, which I'm wearing inside at night, I keep being like, this might be better. It also might not. I don't know where I am right now.
I am so stoned.
This is the 420 special, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in.
If I have to hit the pipe again, I might cry.
Well, then you better get this right, homie.
Yeah, I know. The
You better
pressure's-
get these
the
right.
pressure's on.
I smoke almost no weed anymore, so like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is above the pale for me. Beyond
This
the
is
pale.
like
Uh-huh.
this is like beyond the point where you do it just for fun. You're like, oh God, do I have to do it again?
I can't lose.
I can't lose. The pressure's on.
That's the best part, man. You can't lose.
Oh, I lost this one. So
Yeah.
Yeah, one for Dave.
Take it like a man, brother. You got it.
Mhm. All right, we're going to keep it rolling here. I'll read this next one. So we're going to move on to our section. I call them low-hanging listicles
No, don't worry. It's not
because
that big of a deal.
I didn't have much else to do for the 420 special, so we're going to a couple listicles.
Oh, nice.
This first one is strange strains and hybrids. 3 of the most bizarre cannabis crossbreeds. Let's go to the prompter here. This one comes to us from a very reputable source, 420magazine.com. The author is Mr. Crip,
Yeah,
and this one comes from June 15, 2019.
that's got to be true.
We're all likely familiar with the 2 families of cannabis used for medicinal purposes, including cannabis sativa and cannabis indica. Sativas tend to grow taller, with narrow, light green leaves, and are native to Mexico, Colombia, Africa, Thailand, and India. Indicas tend to grow shorter, with fat, dark green leaves, and they mature quicker and have more resinous flowers than sativas. Indicas are native to the high northern mountain ranges of the Afghani Hindu Kush, Pakistani Karakorams, Russian Pamirs, and Indian Himalayas. There are numerous strains of both sativa and indica. This is just background. Hybrid is created by crossing 2 different true breeding strains. A true breeding strain simply means that the genetics are stabilized, so the seeds will carry traits true to the strain. A true breeding strain is either purebred or a stabilized hybrid. With cuttings, cross-pollination, and more advanced methods, growers and amateur botanists have been creating hybrid strains of cannabis for decades. Over the years, several of these growers have attempted to create far more complex hybrids by combining cannabis sativa or cannabis indica with different plants. Here's a few examples of some surprising strains created by the mad scientists of the cannabis industry. We're going to go to our first example here. This is one you guys are going to evaluate. That intro was just ripped straight from the thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
All right. Does anyone want to read this first one? You want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep it going.
Keep it going? All right. We're going to go our first one, Cannabis ruderalis, the auto flowering strain. To create an auto flowering strain, immature plants are sometimes combined with Cannabis ruderalis. Ruderalis is a low THC species of cannabis, which is native to the Central and Eastern Europe and Russia. Many people consider ruderalis to be its own species due to its unique traits and phenotypes, which distinguish it from indicas and sativas. However, it is widely debated as to whether or not ruderalis is actually a subspecies of sativa. Ruderalis is a short and stocky plant compared to sativa and indica that typically grows to 1 to 2.5 feet tall at harvest, with a rugged and shaggy growth pattern that produces wide, light green leaves. The buds from the ruderalis plant tend to be small but still relatively chunky, and are supported by sturdy, thick stems. What really sets ruderalis apart is its flowering cycle that is induced according to its maturity instead of being activated by the light schedule like indica and sativa. Modern ruderalis hybrids usually begin to flower between 21 and 30 days after the seeds have been planted, regardless of the light cycle. Growers have successfully combined both indica and sativa strains with ruderalis to varying levels of success. Often, the lower THC levels of the ruderalis plant lead to lower potency, giving it a controversial place among growers. All right, do you think that there exists a third cannabis strain called ruderalis that flowers without the light? That's really what this article is.
It said without light patterns.
Or sorry, like against light patterns. Yeah, it's hold on. Let's get the quote up here, folks.
Because here's the thing. I'm not
Yes.
at all.
What really
you're
sets
I'm just trying to make sure that we
Oh no, we're all in good company here. What really sets ruderalis apart is its flowering cycle that is induced according to its maturity instead of being activated by the light schedule like indica and sativa. Modern ruderalis hybrids usually begin to flower between 21 and 30 days after the seeds have been planted, regardless of the light cycle. That's pretty sweet, dude. Like, just plant them and within a month you got flowers. It's not bad.
It's weaker.
It is, yes. It sounds, yep, to varying levels of success. Yeah. It's got a lower potency, you're right. We got to do the actual voting when Alex comes back in, but you guys have any thoughts on this third mythical strain of cannabis?
I mean, I'm gonna feel incredibly stupid if you manage to trick me here. But I think that that's real. Is it the details that we're arguing? Or is it the third like type of marijuana plant?
That part.
That the whole article itself. Do you
Okay.
think it's a true article?
Yes,
or a
I
fake
do.
article?
Yeah, I think
You think
it's
it's
true.
true? Yep.
Yeah, I think it's true.
True. False.
We got a false from David. And Alex, you said true on this one? Did you hear the thing about that?
I heard the story, and then I went to go pee.
That's all
Okay.
he needs.
Do you believe that there is a third strain of marijuana called cannabis ruderalis?
You said false.
I said true.
You said true. You said false.
He's keeping it up, dude.
I'm gonna say true.
I'm gonna true from Alex. Ladies and gentlemen, this one was true. There exists a third strain, ruderalis.
Hell yeah.
I just knew that was true.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to
another
give it
one.
too away.
Nice.
Another one. We got our
that's
expert
what
guest in
that's
here.
the right thing to do is like keep that to your chest.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
That is the game.
Oh yeah, that's the way it goes. Do you want to tag in on this next one, Connor?
Don't what?
You want to tag in on this next one?
Yeah, sure. Cannabis nicotina, a tobacco cannabis hybrid. In 1915, California became the first state to make it legal to possess cannabis. By 1937, 23 states had criminalized its possession. During the 1920s, several tobacco companies attempted to create medicinal cannabis tobacco hybrid in an effort to create a plant that could be sold legally, but would still contain the desirable effects of both tobacco and cannabis. Both Chesterfield and Lucky Strike funded several studies in an attempt to create cannabis nicotina. Scientists utilized cuttings to create a viable hybrid with little success. Dr. Frederick Bennings, a scientist hired by the Chesterfield Corporation, was able to produce a plant with both cannabis and tobacco leaves. But each plant's flowers grew on different branches of the plant. While it could serve as a good space-saving solution, it did not create the true cannabis tobacco hybrid that Bennings was looking for. By 1942, cannabis was removed from the recognized pharmacopoeia in the United States, and the cannabis nicotina studies were shuttered.
Dude, they tried to grow half tobacco, half cannabis plants. I think it's so awesome. Like, you ever seen The Simpsons where they grow the tomato and tobacco plant?
Is that where you got the idea?
Ooh.
Oh, nah, dude. I watch American Dad. It's the CIA one. That's where I get my
I'm
ideas.
American Dad only, bro.
Since I've been voting last, I'm gonna vote first, and I'll go with true.
Oh, yeah, true from David right off the bat. Do you get, what do you guys think about this this hybrid, this Jurassic Park ass hybrid they're trying to make?
I mean,
I'm struggling.
what do you think, Alex?
I'm struggling. What do you think?
I think that's a load of horseshit. That's what I think.
Oh, you going false?
Yeah.
Ooh.
For sure.
Ooh, okay.
Why do you think that?
feel it in my bones. I don't know. I just I don't. That those dates sound interesting to me. You know.
Well, you've been doing really well, so I'm gonna follow your lead on this one. I'm gonna say that this is false.
A false.
Yeah,
That's your final vote?
that's my final vote.
All right. The story was false. Nice job, gentlemen. David, I'm sorry. Your streak continues. All right, so tally of points here. We got 5, 4, 5, and 6.
You've all been
4,
pretty
6.
tough, honestly.
You guys are killing me.
What's the score?
7 to 4 to 7. It is
shit.
still a
We've
tie.
been tied this whole time.
Yes, I'm just falling
Hell
behind.
yeah.
It's up to you guys.
You guys are fucking metagaming this thing right now.
No.
I'm playing casual. They're playing like competitive.
I am
I'm just
like
trying to
definitely-
play, man. It's like I don't care if I win. I'd like to win, but if I don't, I don't.
Oh no, I'm competitive as fuck. Like I want to win. I don't.
They're playing rank. You're serious about
We
this.
can't let
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. That's all, you know.
You're this close. He has never lost. You're this close to being the host, but he has never lost.
What?
Yeah, you guessed more correctly than like.
Oh
Jess.
no. The first like 3 games we played of this, I guessed like all of them wrong.
Yeah, but guess what? You like gain experience from doing it over and over again.
Well, my track record so far is not good. I've had like a really bad track record on this show.
Alex, you had like 2 really bad games, and then you had one where you got every single article right. You had like one that you were just
He
fire.
was on fire.
Yeah.
And what we kind of discussed is I do kind of like start to get a feel for what you're doing, but I'm gonna keep that close to my chest and not let like other people have that.
Yeah.
So the fact
Smart.
that me and Connor are tied, and this is the first time he's done this, he's doing exceptionally well. Probably the best anyone's played.
I like to think I'm a keen observer of the human condition.
Yeah, of course. All right. Do one of you guys want to read this next one?
I don't.
David, do you want me
I'll do
to?
it.
Yeah, you go.
LSD infused cannabis, lysergic acid diethylamide,
Here, I got you.
commonly known as LSD, was first
Lysergic
synthesized.
acid diethylamide.
There we go. Commonly known as LSD was first synthesized by Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann in 1938 and became widely studied in the 1950s and 1960s. It was used experimentally in psychiatry for treating alcoholism and schizophrenia. However, its association with the counterculture movement of the 1960s led to its classification as a Schedule I drug in the US in 1968. It was also listed as a Schedule I controlled substance by the United Nations in 1971 and remains without approved medical uses. That didn't stop the Central Intelligence Agency from experimenting with LSD for decades and its infamous.
Oh,
That's the opposite, MK Ultra program. Patients were exposed to LSD willingly
wittingly or unwittingly.
or unwittingly in a variety of unethical experiments and studies. For example, Operation Midnight Climax saw several high-ranking diplomats dosed with LSD in an effort to secure intelligence. Often the victims would be unwittingly dosed while at a brothel so that they would not report the experience to their superiors. During MK Ultra, during the 1960s, the CIA attempted to create a strain of cannabis that would be infused with LSD during Project Derby Hat.
Derby hat.
Derby Hat. Oh, Derby Hat. The project's case files show the scientists would have used a series of injections and precursors to modern gene editing in an effort to create a cannabis plant that would naturally produce LSD or an effective analog. The project was defunded within 2 years, so they likely didn't make any meaningful progress.
Whoa.
Dude, that one's a fucking horror story. Could you
Whoa.
imagine getting weed laced with LSD?
We were so
Not
focused
knowing.
on if we could, we never stopped to ask if we should.
Oh, wait, but that's the question. Let's say they did do it. Would they like start spreading it in the streets like crack?
Yeah.
What would
certainly.
you do, David?
What
would you do with it?
David, what would you do with it?
If I had the power,
Yeah,
I mean, if I wanted to get more tests done, it'd be like
yeah. That's
free
the-
free subjects.
Yeah. Just give it to people. Say, smoke this.
Well, like oftentimes too, because like here's where I'm conflicted, right? Like for starters, that is something the CIA would do for sure. At least
Yeah.
at least that period of time, right? I mean, like when they're talking about giving people LSD too, like they're giving them a horrifying amount of those. Too. They're just like, hey man, you take this little acid, see what happens. No, they're like, we gave them 100,000 milligrams of pure LSD. I wonder what they'll do. It's like, oh, I wonder what they'll do. Probably not lose their fucking mind. Are you serious? You gave them a bucket of acid? Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, they were dosing that shit with an eyedropper back then. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine like getting like 5 drops of straight acid like that. Brutal.
Yeah.
I also like, so I've done a little bit of research into the MK Ultra program, and like during those early days, back when it was like the OSS instead of the CIA, like there were guys where they would like dose each other in like the cafeteria and stuff. like you had to be careful around certain like members of this government agency because they would be dosing you with LSD if you weren't looking. Yeah. And then just like writing down what was going on with you or not, just doing it to fuck with you.
Yeah, imagine being spiked in your office, dude.
God. I could not handle that at work.
Yeah.
what are your guys' thoughts?
I think it's true.
Okay.
I also think it's true. I kind of know that they were trying to do some of this. Now I'm nervous about some of the details. Derby hat, that one makes me real nervous. That doesn't sound like anything familiar.
Speaking as a man with a characteristic hat, you should be worried. Yeah.
Well, just look, I mean, yeah, again, some of the details of that, but because like lysergic acid, if you torch it, you destroy it. Like you're not gonna. They might put some LSD on like a joint paper near where people's fingers are going to touch. That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, that's a derby hat.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. But point being, I think it's true.
My thoughts are pretty much the same. Like I know enough details about this that it sounds credible to me, but the part I'm unsure about is the stuff I don't know. Right. That's how I feel about it as well.
Yeah, I believe. Okay, the fact that it got canceled in 2 years, if that's this is a ruse. Like parts of this will be incredibly
right.
well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if it is not true, you did a good job with it.
Because you can't do it. You can't actually do that.
Otherwise, true.
We got trues across the board.
They did experiment with all kinds of different things with pot and LSD. So
yeah.
All right, those are your final votes. Trues across the board.
Yeah.
This story was false.
You.
Oh,
Son of
got
a
you,
bitch.
bitches!
Dude,
I got you, motherfuckers.
It's like, man,
Fuck you.
You did that one just for Alex.
I told you.
Yeah,
you baited me.
I told you my reasoning too.
You're like, oh, MK Ultra, Alex will fall for this, and
I
it
told-
worked.
Dude, I told you too. I was like, yo, derby hat makes me real nervous.
That was a real operation name.
See,
I got that from
that's
Wikipedia.
why
Yeah.
that's why it made me nervous. So I'm like, yo, this is like enough of the details of this are pretty credible that like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
true
yeah.
because I don't want to be wrong, but also if it's false, like
That's what got me too.
I gotta take a leak.
Yeah, go ahead. So I will say while you're doing this, the CIA did fund studies on both like cannabis research and also LSD research too. Like they never really tried to combine them because I think you guys are right. Like if you combust it, it's just not gonna work.
Right.
So like that wouldn't have been viable. But they were looking into both. So don't feel like you're totally paranoid. Man, I got the hiccups.
No, it was well done what you did because it
That was kind of my point. That was
Yeah.
impressive. That was great.
like
Thanks,
even
appreciate
the Operation Midnight Climax that
Yeah.
was a real thing.
That was real.
That really baited me because I'm like, well, was that part of Midnight Climax? I can't remember. Maybe that's a detail I don't remember about it. So it was well done.
Thanks.
Well done, Evan.
Yeah, I appreciate it, you guys. I really do.
You're like stupid good at this shit.
Well, you guys have been doing actually pretty well so far.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So, most of us.
Yes. No points were scored by anyone that round. So that's 7-4-7, and
That's the score for
that's
you.
penalties across the
Yeah,
board.
what's your score?
I actually don't know. I think we should tally it at the end, and
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
when I'll pay.
No, all at once.
So this episode's been really crazy. There's so many crazy things that you found that were legit.
I know,
This
right?
episode.
Dude, it's insane, right? And we got one more listicle to go. It's just 3 quick ones about bomb sniffing animals, and I think really the point of the show is that sometimes like truth is stranger than fiction, you know? And a lot of these stories
Yeah.
have been fucking nuts.
The craziest ones are always true.
Yeah, the Hitler story, that was
Dude,
insane.
that's the one where I was like, no, this has to be true.
Yeah, come on. I couldn't write that.
The way you were laughing about it, I was like, nah, that's true. That's true.
And also, like, what got me on that one is like, if Evan wrote this, that is so funny. But I don't think Evan would write this.
I don't think I'm not that funny. Like I couldn't come up with
It was
half
so
of that
funny,
shit.
though.
All the dog fighting and
Yeah.
Trine Thibodeau.
The Hitler detail got me, and the fact that it wasn't really mentioned past the first couple paragraphs, I was like, man, this is a little sloppy for you, I think.
Yeah, I would be dropping that like all throughout the article.
Exactly, because how could you fucking not?
Yeah, that would be the focus.
The names really trip me up too.
Thibodeau.
But yeah,
such
but
a
They're pretty
cool name.
wild.
Again, to bring up this same Tom Segura stand up where he's like talking about the true crime shows. He's like, there's always some guy named Dookie Shoes, you know, and they'll have to read it out like fucking dipshits. And so you said to Dookie Shoes. I never met no Dookie Shoe.
Oh man. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling here. We got just a couple more stories. Our next listicle is about. Oh, let me screen share. Stay with us, folks. You're listening in. We appreciate your patience.
Come on.
Connor's mom, big time watcher of Behind the Curtain. She
Every
watches
single
week.
episode.
All right. Anyone want to tag in on this one?
I got you.
Bombs.
Bomb sniffing bees and plants. The unusual members of Mother Nature's bomb squad. Source: Mental Floss. Author: Rob Lammel. Date: August 16th, 2012. Bees. Bomb sniffing dogs are great at their jobs, but they come with some drawbacks. It can take months to train a dog, and as human handler, and keeping their skills sharp requires constant practice. Bomb dogs are also expensive. When you consider the cost of training, food, shelter, veterinary bills, and the salary of a dedicated handler, a UA company in Sentinel
UK.
believes they have a cheaper, faster, and just as effective alternative: bees. To train sniffer bees, and Sentinel feeds the insects sugar water while exposing them to the smell of dynamite. Jesus Christ. After that, anytime the bees detect dynamite, even in concentrations as small as a few parts per trillion, they'll extend their tongue like proboscises. Proboscises?
Proboscises.
Proboscises.
It's the plural of proboscis.
Yeah, right.
Proboscis.
That's a real word. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So Evans is making up words now. Searching for a sugary treat. The training takes less than 10 minutes, but lasts for the bee's entire 6-week lifespan.
They just lock in, dude.
Although that is quite a bit shorter than the 10-year career of the average bomb dog. With these methods, and Sentinel can train about 500 bees a day. So there are always new sniffers ready to go. One of the bees are trained. A few dozen are placed inside a Sentinel's handheld device, the Vaser 136. Each bee is kept in place with a special bracket and then monitored with an infrared sensor. If the sensors are set off by extended proboscises, an LCD screen alerts the human operator. Much like their 6-legged partners, it only takes a few minutes to train a person to use the Phaser 136 with a quick training time, inexpensive food supply, and a relatively cheap maintenance cost for a hive. Bees can be a great alternative to bomb dogs. Best of all, in addition to bombs, bees can also be trained just as easily to quickly sniff out illegal drugs and even some contagious diseases. And you thought they were only good for making honey. Whoa.
Dude, they got sniffer bees.
That's heavy.
I think the craziest thing to me is like these numbers here that they can train these bees in like 15 minutes. The training takes less than 10 minutes, but lasts for the bee's entire 6-week lifespan. That surprised me.
10 minutes is like a whole week for them.
Yeah, I guess so. They went to technical school.
I have some thoughts on this, but I want to hear what you guys think.
That's what I think. I think this is utter nonsense. I think you made this shit up. There's no shot that this is true.
I can believe you can train bees to do that. The issue is like the practical aspect, like letting them out, and then like how do you bring them all in and like all this extra bullshit? Because they're not, because that's the plus of a dog is like you let a dog out and you can easily like call it back. But like you just release a shit ton of bees and then like
For starters, bees are entering endangered category. And think about the device that they just described, the Phasor 136. Oh, is that? That's a real thing? For sure, that sounds like a real thing.
Okay,
that would be
fair.
easy to mass produce for these fucking bee bomb sniffing goddamn dogs.
it just seems too complicated. It's too much.
That is all excellent points. The world is also insane and
completely.
ironic and
Absolutely.
like, for example, Trump moved 1 centimeter in matrix to bullet, and that was pretty like, okay, well, universe is weird.
Yep.
Universe is real weird.
Absolutely.
They should have had a gun sniffing bee on site.
Yeah. So bomb sniffing bees are not the weirdest thing that's ever happened.
Absolutely not. Completely agree with you.
But enough to believe in.
But I do think the story is false.
Yeah, I think this is nonsense.
Okay, we got false. David?
Just to be different, I'll be true.
Okay, we got a little true from David. Ladies and gentlemen, this story was true.
Oh,
nice job,
what?
David. There you go. Yeah, dude. These bees are really sniffing.
There's no way.
They're extending their proboscises and they're being read by the Phasor 136. Every detail of that was true.
Who
Oh
wrote
my
that?
god.
Mental floss. Yeah, Rob Lamley.
So
Mental floss.
what got me is the way it was written. When it was like, it also takes only 10 minutes to train a human.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, that's hilarious. That's a hilarious thing to say.
Dude, imagine working
Yeah,
on
I thought no way. I'm like,
I was like, Evan wrote this and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
okay, so
that's what
that's
I
a
thought.
real article.
that's what I thought too. I was like, this is really funny. There's no way.
Well,
Imagine a guy having to explain that's his job.
yeah.
No, I don't. I would lie. I'd be like, yeah, I work in weapons production for the gun.
Like, would you believe him? He was telling you, yeah. So like, I look at this thing called the what is it called again?
the Phasor 136.
Oh yeah, I want to see pictures of that for sure.
Yeah,
You
hold
know,
on.
not right now. I just mean like from that guy telling me that's what he does for a living. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, show me this device because that is outlandish.
Sounds like bullshit.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Hey, if you're tuning
Oh
in
my
on an
God.
audio medium, this thing looks like a dust buster. It's
It does,
insane.
dude.
It looks like one of those little tiny handheld vacuums, and there's like a smartphone like GPS screen that pops out of the
I
top.
should have known that this is true. I'm mad at myself.
The Phasor. Oh, so I guess the bees get loaded into this little chamber here. Wow,
You
that's
just
fucked
you
up.
just shoot them out.
Dude, this is insane.
So
That's fucked up.
That is
an
a
engineer.
crazy story.
Yeah.
There's an engineer who like made a machine purely for this one specific thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I make the beam machine. It's called the beam.
So it launches
I'm
a
saving lives in math.
I studied to be a Phasor technician.
I work with bees, you might say, and bombs.
Okay, dude.
I'm pretty special. You don't know.
Oh boy. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling here. The next animal is elephants. Does anyone want to read about elephants?
I'll read about some
Yeah,
elephants.
you want to read about elephants?
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
Yeah.
Elephants have long been used for various jobs working alongside humans, from the entertainment to the logging industry. Often these animals are abused and mistreated. Oh, bummer. And, and elephant labor has been widely outlawed around the world. Well, that's a good thing. However, one India-based research company, Intellipac, yeah, I think I got that right,
Yeah.
has been granted funding from India's national government to sponsor studies on the scent recognition capabilities of the Indian elephant. Well, that sounds like a better job than logging, for sure.
Yeah.
Smelling.
Intellipac hopes to train Indian elephants to detect dangerous chemicals and traces of drugs in the field. The company says that elephants are being trained to detect these scent markers in the thick forests and jungles of rural India. This is where most of the country's illegal drug labs and farming are found. Can you imagine? No,
Go ahead. No, I want to hear. I wanna hear.
Can you imagine? You're out there in the jungle, butt ass naked, making drugs,
And then an elephant just
and you hear an elephant, which is scary in and of itself. These elephants are fucking huge, and you come to find out that no, Actually, this is a drug sniffing elephant, which is scary for a different reason.
Dude, you're like chopping up bags, like you hear like
And
sniffing
it's
from
just,
the
and
tree
it's just
line.
an elephant that's like, hey, bro, what's up, man? I'm here. Fuck your life up. Oh, yeah, because I lost that one, huh?
Drug
That's-
elephant's crazy.
RIP.
Yeah, I'll tag in for a second. The elephants are naturals at traversing the thick undergrowth and would help to clear the trail for law enforcement agents while sniffing for grow operations. Deepak Kumar, a spokesperson for Intellipac, says that there is another factor that would make the elephants good candidates for busting criminals: intimidation.
I mean,
As I touched on a
Yes.
moment ago.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
Dude, this guy knows what's up. Quote, many
I'm sorry, Mr. Elephant. Please.
Quote, many of these elephants have been raised from a young age, some of them orphaned by the very criminals we're trying to stop. The elephants are often made angry by the criminals' guns and vehicles, and they will trumpet and charge at a moment's notice. Drug lords can scare a man and a dog, but they will find that an elephant is far harder to stop.
Yeah.
Seems like the old saying is true. Elephants never forget, but they also never forgive.
Oh my god. Yo.
Even if this is false, I wish it was true.
I mean, this is another, for me, this is the same thing as last time. I'm like, it's so funny that I think you wrote it, but I thought the same thing about the last one.
That's where
And
I'm
it-
at too, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I kind of think. Shit, I don't know. I'm going false. I'll explain my reasoning if I'm right or wrong.
Okay, get a false from Conor.
I'm gonna say
I'm gonna go false.
False from David too.
Can't both.
what's the score right now?
Current score is Alex and Conor still tied in the lead with 7 each. David with 5.
So this is a tiebreaker for YouTube. You want to try to do that? Because he went false.
I'm gonna say false.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Tie with him again. Okay,
3 falses.
and maybe I'll catch up.
Hopefully. Ladies and gentlemen, this story was false. Nice job, you guys. You sniffed
fucking
me out like an elephant. Nice job.
Yes. That was just
Excellent.
that was too funny. That's why in the middle of it, I was like, all right, hold on. Let me picture this for a moment.
Yeah. Penalty for Evan.
Nice job. Excellent. Yeah.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Oh,
For
thank
the
you.
story.
I
That
appreciate
was so
it.
funny.
I mean, yes. I thought it was false because I'm like trying to pick up on a pattern of some sort. But also, I was just like, man, that's too amazing. Like that can't be a real thing.
I wish it
No,
was
that's-
real.
That's insane.
The way it was written, like it's and the elephants
Wait.
never forget and they never
Yeah.
forgive.
Yeah, that's what gave you away because that's from that's some variation of Arrested Development.
Oh,
We
shit.
forget, but we never forgive.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love that story.
I think this is actually our last story of the night here.
Oh shit.
Maybe this will be the tiebreaker finally.
Oh shit.
Yes, honestly, this could tie it up.
Oh,
This could end things in one glorious tie, depending
Oh,
on how
shit.
it goes. We'll see. Okay, our final story is about drug sniffing plants. Does anyone want to do the honors? Read the last one.
David.
Take us home, David.
All right. Plants with assistance from Professor June Medford of Colorado State University. Future bomb sniffers might not even have noses. Medford and her team and the biology department have genetically modified plants, natural receptors to air and soil pollutants to detect explosives and other dangerous chemicals. If these bomb sniffing plants absorb TNT from the air, an internal switch is flipped and they change color from green to white. Once the TNT has been removed, the plants return to their natural color. Bomb sniffing plants could easily become an early warning device for everything, ranging from explosives to chemical and biological weapons or even environmental pollutants. The plan is to eventually have certain types of plants set up to detect certain types of dangers. For example, if the hydrangeas planted outside the airport are white, but the roses are still red, you know you have a bomb in the area, but not anthrax. Medford is working to make the gene plug and play, meaning this new gene sequence could be used on virtually any type of plant like trees. This would make it possible to use an airplane or satellite to monitor the leaves in a neighborhood to determine the breadth of an area affected by a pollutant. As of right now, the color changes takes place over a couple of hours. While that's still a great early warning window, Medford hopes to speed that up to only a few minutes in the future.
Wow.
We got bomb and drug sniffing plants. Thoughts on
Wow.
this, fellas?
Wow.
This definitely falls in the absurd enough that it's probably true category, right?
I was also leaning true.
I don't know if I'm leaning true, but like that is absurd enough.
I think it's absolutely insane and probably true. Yeah.
Well,
Wild.
Cause like, damn it. I'm very baked all of a sudden, which is
No,
a
yeah.
couple minutes ago, I was just like, oh, man,
Oh yeah.
when did that happen? Probably my penalty for
So you went true?
I think that's true. My philosophy on this, honestly, is the last one was false, and there's 3 in this category, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the other one was true, right? So there's either 1 that's true and 2 false in this category, or there's 2 that's true and 1 false in this category. And I'm just by process of elimination, I think that this one is true.
You're really game theorying this shit, huh?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So you think that there definitely are plants that can sniff for drugs and bombs?
I don't feel confident about it. I am going to vote true.
I mean, my vote doesn't matter. It's your vote that matters.
Your vote matters, David. even though you come from a different place.
I think that's false. I don't know.
False. You got a false from
Don't
Conor.
ever
too
say
many-
your vote doesn't matter.
I have too many
false.
questions about that
I put false too.
feel good about it being true.
And a false from David.
All right, this is gonna be the tiebreaker.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this story was true.
Oh.
Nice job, Alex.
Yeah, you
Sorry,
got it,
gentlemen.
Alex.
Damn, 1
Good
point
game,
away.
gentlemen.
That brings our final scores of the night. Alex scored a pretty respectable 9 points tonight, coming in first place. Conor coming in second place with 8 points, and David coming in third with 6. And there were 15 total points that you guys could earn.
Well
tonight.
done, gentlemen.
I tried.
So that means that, 2 of you guys effectively beat me. Nice job. Yeah.
Well done, because I was never sure about any of them. I was never like, I know for
Yeah,
sure.
they were tossed up.
I just thought the plants was like there's just too many moving parts there. I don't know. That sounds silly.
It was
Sure.
a crazy story for sure.
But also,
Yeah.
I started my I think this is probably false, but this is crazy, so it's probably true. I don't feel good
Yeah.
about it.
Like planning them outside of airports and like shit. Like, come on.
Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? How did you get that job?
I think the funny thing about that is like they're funding these studies and they're like, yeah, the plants can detect anthrax, but it takes 3 hours for them to change
Well, man,
colors.
That was another reason where I was like, this just seems too stupid.
Too inefficient. Like, it's so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But like, yeah, of course that's the true one for sure.
Reality's stranger than fiction,
Yeah.
man.
You know,
Ain't
It's-
it just the
it's
way?
true. That's a Hunter S. Thompson thing. I learned a long time ago that reality is far stranger than anyone's imagination. It's like shit's weird, and we're like basing all of our imagination on what we see.
Mm.
So we can't even conceive of how fucking stupid and crazy this shit is.
well, especially considering our brain is like flipping the image around for our eyes.
Yeah,
Everything's
our
upside
input
down.
is upside down
Yes.
when you
Oh,
look at
shit.
it. Yeah.
What? What does that even mean?
No, it's like technically what honestly, maybe we should talk about this off the podcast. I think that
No, you're an expert. Go ahead.
okay, I'm an eye guy.
Speak on it as with authority.
Like
So-
a real newscaster.
Yeah.
person.
So
Speak
you're
really confidently about things you don't know. That's the news.
That's right, folks. I think it's just like biologically, like the way your eye is built. When you see something, if you like the actual image is technically like upside down. Like your eye. Help me out here.
Okay, Oh, dude. Okay. Jeez.
I know, yeah.
So yeah. Oh, jeez, Rick.
The world's
Or-
upside down and we perceive it upright.
Well, no, I think that's the
No,
way.
it's the way your eyes.
It's just the way your eyes built. If you were to like look at it like a lens in like a telescope, it would put an upside down picture.
kind of like how mirrors work.
Yeah. So your eye has to flip that image over
Oh, like
in
it
its
process.
processes. Yeah.
Your
Your brain-
Yeah.
Alright.
Your
Your
eyes
brain
are built
does it.
upside down.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's what
But
it is.
it's your brain that flips it for you.
Yeah.
That's nice. Thanks,
Mhm.
Brain.
Exactly.
That's really nice. Yo, shout out to Brain, dude.
Shout out Brain.
Thanks, Brain.
Watch out for Big Brain. They're trying to get you.
Don't trust Big Brain.
And
dude.
don't trust Big Brain.
Heart all the way.
Don't
No
install
big
the
brain.
chip.
Big
All right.
Brain.
What I learned tonight is if you have an impulse, act on it, regardless of what it is. And that pot should be legal. That's what I learned.
That's a great lesson.
I think it's nuts how long it was used as a medicine and how recently it was outlawed. You know.
Yeah, man.
Oh, in Tennessee, they just did a thing where THC. Well, I don't know exactly, but some strains that were legal or strains are legal or no longer legal.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, the stronger ones, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't actually know that much about it, but yeah, just recently it looks like they're tightening up weed laws in Tennessee.
Which sucks.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo. Fuck you, Tennessee.
And what I see people talking about is it's like people are voting with religion. It's like these are conservative Christians, and it is conservatives doing it, but it's not because of Christianity. It's because Tennessee is an agricultural state, and there's a lot of money that from agriculture that funds Tennessee. And there's a lot of people don't feel like weed is in their best interest. So kind of sucks.
Sometimes I feel that way.
Like right now. Oh,
Ooh,
well, that was great. Great stories, Evan.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This has
Hell
been
yeah,
a blast.
dude. I've had a ton of fun. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming. You did so good
Thank
for your
you.
first game ever.
Well, man, I was leaning towards true, but then you said true. I'm like, well, okay, I'm not sure. So if I say false, I'm right. Either I'll win,
Mm.
Yeah, but it's
Or-
more interesting that way.
Yes.
or you
Yeah.
know, either I'll win, or like I don't fucking know anyway. So who gives a shit?
Yeah.
exactly.
If we're talking game theory, that was the right move. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah. Well, for you guys tuning in either online right now on audio, or if you're watching this YouTube stream later on, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Y'all keep it going here. And happy 420, happy Easter. Also, just one more time, Connor, tell us about the upcoming shows you got.
oh, upcoming shows. Okay, now I'm less stoned than the first time I tried to do this. I think so.
You got a show with Wynton and Karma.
Yeah, I think Wynton and Karma. I think we're both
Cool.
playing. One of us is playing it at 5/2
Oh, yeah.
May. That's
And
the
then
month of 5.
Wynton put out that live album
He did.
today.
Lynn
Just
put out
came
a live
out.
record today, which is pretty cool.
Yes,
it's called Live at Hemp Havok, fittingly,
Oh,
I
that's
think.
good.
For
Hell
today.
Yeah.
Go
Uh,
stream that right now.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, it's not, no, I guess we smoke some weed sometimes, but the music's cool,
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for coming, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, you guys.
Absolutely. Anything you guys want to plug before we sign off here?
Possum Stock, September. Rabbit Hole is going to be there. So it's Possum Stock's going to be really sick this year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Go to Possum Stock.
Put it down in your calendar.
Check out Karma Culture. Check out.
Yeah, yo, check out Karma for sure. Do that. I know where I am.
Y'all got new
You-
songs been
you guys.
playing that are really sick.
Yeah, dude. Come see it.
Sometimes bands are like, they play all the songs that I'm used to and I really like them. And then it's like, oh, they're throwing this new song in the mix and I don't feel good about it. And I'm like, no, both y'all's new songs are great.
Yeah, we've been fucking around for a while at this point, so it's nice to get them out
Yeah.
to people. Yeah.
All right, dude.
Well, yeah.
All right,
See you
guys,
next
thank
week.
you so much for tuning in. Y'all have a good night. Tune in next month. And happy 420.
Yeah. Yeah, man.